This week on the Downsized News, Lilly's about to shake things up with new data on Zepbound and Mounjaro and a possible GLP-1 pill, plus layoffs at Hims, high-dose semaglutide, global court fights, and a new course helping athletic trainers better support GLP-1 users.
Welcome to the Downsized News. It's Monday, June 2nd, 2025, and we've got your latest scoop on GLP-1 medications. I'm Laraine Durham, and I've lost over 50 pounds using the GLP-1 Tirzepatide.
And I'm Christopher Durham, and I've lost 100 pounds thanks to GLP-1s. Today we're bringing you the top news about GLP-1s, everything from Mounjaro and Zepbound to Wegovy, Ozempic, Semaglutide, and Tirzepatide, plus all the new innovation and research and development from treatments to new drugs on the horizon.
Before we get started, just a reminder, we're not doctors. We're sharing what's helped us and what's happening out there. Always check in with your healthcare provider before starting any new treatment. And hey, if you find this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from the Downsized.
We've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. What's new and what it means for those of us using GLP-1s to treat the disease of obesity. Story number one, if you're using a GLP-1, Zepbound or Mounjaro, or just trying to stay informed about what's next, this is the one to watch. Eli Lilly is getting ready to share a lot of new data at this year's American Diabetes Association, or ADA, scientific sessions in Chicago, happening June 20th through the 23rd. It's one of the biggest annual events for diabetes and obesity research, and Lilly's coming in strong with updates across their entire weight loss and diabetes pipeline. That includes Zepbound, Mounjaro, Orfroglipron, Retatrutide, Elornitide, bimagrumab, and even a new once-a-week insulin. If you're new to all this, Zepbound and Mounjaro are brand names for Tirzepatide, a once-weekly medication that helps people lose weight and manage blood sugar. Both have already changed lives, including ours here at the Downsized. So, what's new? One presentation will focus on how Tirzepatide affected kidney function in people with obesity and prediabetes over 3 years. That's the SURMOUNT-1 study. Same trial, different talk. Another researcher will cover just how much weight people kept off during that time. But maybe the most anticipated study will be SURMOUNT-5. It compares Tirzepatide directly to semaglutide, the active ingredient in Wegovy and Ozempic. This is a big deal. It'll show how much weight people lost, how fast, how safe it was. That presentation will be on Saturday, June 21st. Now, we've seen some early reads from this, so it's not a big surprise that Zepbound, Mounjaro, Tirzepatide are outperforming Wegovy. There's also a spotlight on people who switched from Trulicity or dulaglutide to Mounjaro. Researchers will talk about how those patients did and how they felt. That's the SURPASS Switch study. Now let's talk about the new stuff. Lilly will share phase 3 results on Orfroglipron, a once-daily oral GLP-1. That means no shots. If this works out, it could be a game changer for people who can't or don't want to use injections. Orfroglipron is being studied for type 2 diabetes, obesity, sleep apnea, and even high blood pressure. They're also showcasing Retatrutide, which is a triple-action hormone drug. It targets GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon receptors all in one shot. Lilly is testing it for obesity, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, and sleep apnea. Another new name, Elornitide. This one mimics amylin, a hormone that helps regulate appetite. It could help improve weight loss while making side effects like nausea more tolerable. And then there's bimagrumab, a treatment that focuses on muscle. The BELIEVE study, that's right, it's called BELIEVE, will show what happens when you pair bimagrumab with semaglutide. The goal is to lose more fat, but keep more lean mass. That's the kind of weight loss that's not just about the number on the scale, it's about strength and health. Oh, and Lilly's also working on a new once-a-week insulin for type 2 diabetes. It's called ISSA. It's designed to give better blood sugar control with fewer highs and lows. If you're really into this stuff, Lilly is hosting a live-streamed investor event on Sunday, June 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Central. It'll be all about what these findings mean for the future of obesity and diabetes treatment. You can watch it on their investor website. Of course, we'll be reporting on it. This is a huge moment in the obesity and diabetes space, and if you're treating the disease of obesity with GLP-1s, it matters. We'll keep an eye on all of it and share what it means for the real people like us.
Lots of good stuff.
Lots of good stuff. I mean, they've been teasing all this stuff all along, so I don't think there's any big surprise here, but it should get Orfroglipron and Retatrutide one step closer towards a potential release next year.
Yeah, so 2026 we're seeing as the release date for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting. Retatrutide has a triple agonist where Zepbound has a dual agonist. And Orfroglipron as a pill form, I mean, that would be great because, I don't love taking a shot. I'll take the shot, but if I could take a pill and get the same effect, that would be great.
I'm with you.
In story number 2, a new study published in Diabetes Care looked at what happens when weekly semaglutide doses go way beyond what's currently approved, up to 16 milligrams. For those of us using GLP-1s like Ozempic or Wegovy to treat the disease of obesity or type 2 diabetes, this research raises a big question. Does more semaglutide lead to better results? Let's start with blood sugar. The answer is no, at least not in a meaningful way. The difference in A1C between the standard 2 milligram dose and the high 16 milligram dose was only about 0.3 to 0.5 percentage points, depending on how the data was analyzed. That may be statistically interesting, but it's not clinically significant. In plain terms, going higher didn't do much more to improve blood sugar. But for weight loss, that's where the bigger dose started to show more of a difference. People taking 16 milligrams lost about 10.8% of their body weight, compared to 7.3% on the 2 milligram dose. That worked out to about 7 to 10 pounds. More weight loss at the highest dose. Still, it wasn't easy getting there. Nearly 1 in 3 people on the 8 or 16 milligram doses dropped out of the study early, mostly because of the side effects. Nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea were the big ones, and they hit hard. People had no option to slow down their dose increases or reduce the dose if they were struggling. That rigid dosing schedule likely made things worse. And a strange side effect showed up too, diesthesia. That's a nerve-related feeling like a tingling or a burning, and it was seen mostly in the higher dose groups. It hasn't been commonly reported with injectable semaglutide before. The new study followed participants for 40 weeks. Everyone stayed on metformin, and no one could adjust their semaglutide dose. By the end, the dropout rate was about 15% for the 2 milligram group, but nearly double that for those on higher doses. Now, here's where things get interesting. Novo Nordisk has also been testing a once-weekly 7.2 milligram dose of semaglutide for people with obesity and type 2 diabetes. In January, they reported this dose resulted in a 20.7% average weight loss over 72 weeks, compared to 17.5% for the currently approved 2.4 milligram dose. The full results are expected to be released at a medical conference later this year. And there's more. Novo is also developing a higher dose oral version of semaglutide. In the OASIS-1 trial, people taking the 50 milligram pill every day lost more than 15% of their body weight. That could open up a new non-injection option for people who want the benefits of GLP-1 without the weekly shots. The study shows that while semaglutide can help people lose more weight at higher doses, it's not without risk. Side effects increase, and the added blood sugar benefit is minimal. The next step is figuring out whether better dose flexibility and longer studies can unlock even more value for people treating obesity.
So they just keep plugging away on semaglutide.
Well, it's their money maker, so they gotta figure out how to maximize it. So these studies are increasing the dosage, and you get a little bit more weight loss with a little bit increased dose, a lot increased dose in some cases. Yeah. Unfortunately, the nausea, the vomiting, the diarrhea also ramp up with those higher doses. So if 30% of the study participants dropped out due to those side effects, I'd say the average person would not.
Part of it's the way this study was written.
They couldn't adjust their dose.
So they were forced to take it even if it was making them sick.
So the average person would have to be working very closely with the doctor and saying, oh, I can't, I'm throwing up every day on this 16 milligram dose. I got to drop down.
And the average person would drop down. They would
drop down, but there's nothing between 2 and 16 currently on the market. Right. So, what do you do there? Maybe they introduce more doses in between there.
Well, so semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy has been wildly successful for a lot of people. We've talked to lots and lots of people who have lost weight on it. It's a little bit cheaper in most cases, depending on where you're getting it from. So Novo Nordisk continues to figure out how, to make this a more valuable medication, and they have a whole list of drugs in the pipeline coming as well that could be combined to help out. So we'll see. It's an exciting time right now. Story number 3, Hims is laying off 68 employees, about 4% of its staff, just as the FDA cracks down on compounded GLP-1s. The timing isn't a coincidence. On May 22nd, the FDA's ban on mass-produced semaglutide copies took effect, and a federal judge backed the FDA's decision to remove Tirzepatide from the shortage list, effectively blocking 503B pharmacies from compounding it. Hims has been offering lower-cost compounded versions of Wegovy or semaglutide, helping drive major growth. GLP-1 prescriptions brought in $200 million last year, but with the FDA closing that door, Hims is shifting gears. The company says the layoffs aren't directly tied to the ban. Still, shares dropped 14% after the announcement. Hims is now partnering with Novo Nordisk to offer brand name Wegovy and is expanding its new treatment areas like menopause and low testosterone. Meanwhile, some 503A pharmacies believe they can continue to offer personalized compounded GLP-1s, legally adjusting doses and titration for individual patients. It's unclear how long that approach will hold up under legal scrutiny. For Hims, the GLP-1 gold rush isn't over, it's just moving into a new phase, and they're betting big that they can still grow as the rules change.
Guess if you can't beat them, join them, right?
You got to stay in business.
Right. So they made $200 million off compounded semaglutide. And so they can't do that anymore, and they laid off 68 people. I'd say that's related.
Sounds like it's related.
I'd say that's related, but hopefully, they can adjust. In story number 4, there's a new course out to help people on GLP-1s, and it's not for patients. It's for their trainers. The International Sports Science Association, or the ISSA, has launched a new training program to help fitness coaches better support people using Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Zepbound. It's called the GLP-1 Weight Loss Support Training Course, and it's all about helping trainers understand the physical, emotional, and behavioral shifts that come with rapid weight loss. The course costs $159 and gives coaches a practical, science-based look at what it's like to lose weight with the help of a GLP-1. It covers how these medications affect appetite, metabolism, muscle preservation, and energy levels, and how workouts need to adapt. Trainers will learn how to recognize and adjust for side effects like nausea, fatigue, and dizziness. They'll get strategies to help clients maintain muscle mass, reduce injury risk, and safely build strength and stamina. It also teaches how to design workout plans that match where a client really is, not where old models say they should be. There's also a major focus on emotional support. The course helps coaches guide clients through mindset shifts, body image changes, emotional eating patterns, and the mental ups and downs that can come with fast transformation. This is a big shift for the fitness industry. For decades, the message was simple: eat less, move more. But GLP-1 medications are changing that narrative, and for the millions of people treating the disease of obesity, it's a welcome change. Instead of pushing harder, this course is about meeting people where they are and supporting them in ways they actually need.
So what do you think of that?
I see a lot of trainers on social media bashing GLP-1s and the people that use them. So I think if a trainer is open to paying $159 for this course, they're open to GLP-1s, and that's a great thing if we can shift that thought a little bit.
I'm with you. Story number 5, Scott Brunner, CEO of Alliance for Pharmacy Compounding, the trade association, just published an op-ed in the DC Journal called No Respect: How Misrepresenting Compounding Drugs Hurts Patients. In it, he takes on the way people talk about compounded medications, especially GLP-1s. He says words like knockoffs, copycats, and unapproved aren't just misleading, they're harmful. Brunner compares it to Rodney Dangerfield, No Respect. And he says compounders are often misunderstood in the same way. These aren't back alley operations. Compounded meds are made in licensed pharmacies using ingredients from FDA-registered suppliers. They're regulated, they're prescribed, and they're often essential when commercial drugs are in shortage or when a patient needs a different form or dose. We've personally used compounded Tirzepatide, and we've had success with it. For us, it helped continue our progress when name brand options were either unavailable or unaffordable. Hospitals rely on compounded medications every day. So do kids who can't swallow pills. So do California firefighters during the wildfires. Brunner argues that unapproved doesn't mean unsafe. It just means the medication wasn't mass-produced and sent through the full FDA process. That doesn't make it illegal or dangerous. The real danger, he says, is lumping compounded medications in with counterfeit drugs. One is made by licensed professionals, the other is made illegally and sold online. Not the same thing. Brunner says this kind of language creates confusion and fear, and it puts patients at risk. There is a debate to be had about some pharmacies pushing too far, but misrepresenting the entire industry, that helps no one. As Brunner puts it, compounded medications aren't punchlines, they're prescriptions, and for many patients, they're the only option. And here's our take. We agree compounded medications have a place and can offer value, but let's be honest, everyone is making money off of the disease of obesity right now, and that includes compounders. Much of what we're seeing now is PR-driven. Compounders have become excessively profit-driven with GLP-1s, and some have clearly overstepped, while Big Pharma is chasing their dollar as well. The truth is, little pharma can be just as greedy as big pharma, and the whole fighting the system narrative, it sounds good in a headline, but it can put patients at risk when the full story isn't told. That's why we keep covering it and why we believe patient safety, transparency, and honesty must come first. So obviously, Brunner leads a trade association for compounding pharmacies, so it's not a surprise he's out there
promoting them or
promoting
defending them, as the case may be. I mean, I'm all for compounding. I've lost over 50 pounds on compounded Tirzepatide. So if not for that, I wouldn't have been able to afford it. So I'm very thankful that compounding is there. It's a safe option, and it's not to be confused with counterfeit drugs and counterfeit medications. These are two separate issues.
And we'll say it again, Lilly Novo, get your price down around $200 and all of a sudden compounding has no place. We'd be happy to buy your medications.
Absolutely.
I've got a Zepbound prescription right now, so it'd be awesome. Story number 6, Laraine.
Big news out of India that could impact the global obesity treatment landscape. The Delhi High Court has issued an order stopping two companies, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories and OneSource Specialty Pharma, from selling or marketing semaglutide in India. That's the active ingredient in Wegovy, Novo Nordisk's blockbuster GLP-1 medication for obesity. This legal move comes after Novo Nordisk filed a patent infringement lawsuit. The company argues that Dr. Reddy's and OneSource were violating its intellectual property by selling semaglutide without permission. The court agreed, at least for now, and has issued an interim injunction to block further sales while the case plays out. If you're treating obesity with GLP-1, this is a reminder that these medications don't just face challenges at the pharmacy counter. They're part of a much bigger battle over patents, pricing, and access around the world. Novo Nordisk responded quickly. They emphasized their patents are valid in India and said this ruling enforces the need to protect innovation. The company even framed it as a win for patients, saying it will help encourage development of new medications and ensure safe, effective treatment options stay on the market. But there's more to the story. Novo isn't just defending Wegovy, they're also accelerating its launch. Originally, they weren't planning to bring Wegovy to India until 2026, but with obesity rates climbing and rival Eli Lilly already launching Mounjaro in India, Novo is moving up its timeline. In a statement, they said they're committed to improving treatment availability, access, and awareness, especially in India, where the demand for effective obesity therapies is rising fast. So what does this mean for people on a GLP-1? Whether you're in the US, India, or anywhere else, it's a sign that the obesity treatment market is heating up. Lawsuits, launches, patent fights, pricing debates, it's all happening at once, and it all affects the future of these medications. I was just thinking, didn't they already launch in India? But that was Mounjaro that launched. Mounjaro. And Mounjaro, I think we reported, is $50 a month in India. To me, that seems like a low price. I don't know how that translates based on people in India, but there's a lot of people in India, right?
Well, there's a lot of people in India, and people will always comment, well, the cost of living in this country is this, this, and
you
this.
can't really compare it. Is it $1,200 here to $50 there? That doesn't seem comparable, right?
The challenge is economics don't really work that way, because Novo or Lilly or whoever's making it, they're still operating with American dollars, and it's probably being manufactured in a facility where it costs the same.
Mm-hmm. Probably some they're not going to ship it to India. It's probably been they probably have production facilities near India or in India.
It's probably still costing them the same to make, or very close.
Which is not $1,200 a month, which is closer to $10 a month, probably.
You got it. Story number 7, Nxtera Pharma, a biotech company based in Japan and the UK, has hit a key development milestone in its partnership with Eli Lilly. The achievement is part of a multi-target collaboration focused on diabetes and metabolic diseases. It triggered a milestone payment from Lilly, though the amount was not disclosed. The two companies joined forces in 2022, combining Lilly's development and commercialization capabilities with NextEra's structure-based drug discovery platform, NextWave. This milestone confirms that NextEra's platform successfully identified a small molecule binder to a GPCR metabolic target, a step that may eventually lead to a new class of treatments. Under the terms of the agreement, NextEra could receive up to $694 million in future development and commercial milestone payments, plus royalties if any therapies make it to market. While the specifics of the molecule and target haven't been made public, the deal reflects ongoing momentum in the search for the next generation of obesity and diabetes drugs, especially oral therapies that could offer an alternative to injectable GLP-1 medications like Zepbound and Mounjaro. Lilly will now take over the next stages of development and commercialization. The announcement adds to a growing trend of innovation and investment in metabolic disease space as companies look beyond current therapies. So basically it's really a platform, an innovation platform they have worked with. And if the platform is successful, they get an extra $864 million.
The $864 million question.
Talking about an incentive, though. I mean, you're going to make sure your thing works.
Mm-hmm. In story number 8, Novo Nordisk is about to face a wave of competition in China. The patent for Semaglutide, the key ingredient in Ozempic and Wegovy, expires in China next year. That opens the door for many new companies to enter the market. More than 60 new drugs are already in clinical trials in China. At least 20 of them are aiming to be generics or biosimilars of semaglutide. Others are trying to leap ahead with new hormone combinations or oral versions. Experts say this could make China's GLP-1 market even more competitive than the US or Europe. And China's market is massive. Novo Nordisk is currently a top player worldwide, in large part due to semaglutide. Ozempic was the second best-selling drug globally last year, with over $17 billion in revenue. But this patent expiration could be a turning point. Wegovy was only recently approved in China. Ozempic has been available there since 2021, and Novo's sales are booming, but local and international companies are quickly catching up. Some names to watch include Innovent, which is working with Eli Lilly on a new drug called Mezutide. Other Chinese firms like Hengru and Esletsis are working on their own GLP-1 versions too. Eli Lilly is also getting ready. Last year, it announced plans to expand its factory in Suzhou to keep up with demand. Why does this matter? Because China has more people living with diabetes than any other country, about 148 million. It also has a growing number of adults with obesity. Nearly 400 million were considered overweight in 2021. That number could grow to over 60% of the adult population by 2050. So this is not just a business story, it's a patient story too. More companies in the space could mean more options. It could also lead to lower prices. For now, Novo Nordisk remains a giant, but 2026 could mark the beginning of a very different future.
Well, with the Chinese coming into the space and more manufacturing, that stuff all gets imported anyway. It could help us.
So refrigerated medication is going to be
or
imported
orals, or I mean, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways that it could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just changes the market. And honestly, then maybe
Maybe
we need to go visit China and
I've been to China.
soup up the Trans Am and let's head out.
I have been to China. Yeah.
All right, and that's the latest from the Downsized news. We hope you found today's insights helpful as you navigate your GLP-1 adventure.
And while you're here, don't forget to check out our Downsized store at thedownsized.org, where you'll find GLP-1 companion products and more to support your adventure.
Before we wrap up, if you've been following the adventure Laraine and I are on and want more real stories, honest insights, GLP-1 news, and useful tips about these medications, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss an update or a live stream.
I'm Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham, and we are The Downsized.